Hello, Pokemon trainers, and welcome to the King's Court. Okay, so this is part 51. Crazy to think this is the 51st, 51, whatever, however you want to put it, part of the Path to Power series, really quick. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you're a returning viewer, hi, how you doing? The Path to Power series is basically where I try to climb the online Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC ladder, and overall, I just try to accumulate some of the more more entertaining kind of games, but also I come back here to commentate over them in order to give like my perspective, my play-by-play. Man, Dazzling Gleam is crazy powerful. Yeah, I try to give my perspective, my play-by-play of my mindset at the time. This way I can also improve my own skills. So yeah, wow, that Dazzling Gleam just took care of those two right there. Man, that is Maridon is so great. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I've been having some issues lately in some of the higher ranks because uh currently the team I'm using, I'm still if you've been following the series, I've been using this team where Giratina is the main focus because Giratina is my favorite Pokemon. I mean, in all honesty, I probably would be better off running Fluttermane for a ghost type slot, but in all honesty, I'm just having a lot of fun with this series. But really quick, you probably would be better off if you're trying to you know, you're probably better off using Fluttermane. But anyways, the point is, I want to change up the team. Giratina is still going to be the focus because I want to keep. I honestly am having so much fun with this. I want to keep doing this series focusing on Giratina until I can't really, until the next regulation set gets announced, where they'll I don't know if they'll remove not let us use restricted Pokemon anymore, or by the time Gen 10 comes out, who knows? Which, speaking of which, has anyone seen the new Mega Evolutions that got revealed? The new Chimecho and shoot, this is gonna bug me. What was the other one? Chimecho and oh, I'm gonna kick myself for this. Oh, I forgot the other one. I'll go over that. I'll share a picture of it. Man, I don't know why it's slipping my mind, but let me know what you think of them in the comments. I like the Chimecho one. I don't know. Steel and Psychic's never really been my type, so I like that much, but I really like Chimecho. I don't know why. So, my opponent starts off in this one with Indene, and Fluttermane. This way, no fake outs for me. But I managed to get a knockoff on the Indene because I want to knock that thing out quickly. So I have my Giratina right here, and I'm trying to figure out, should I just... Now, unfortunately, I messed up right here. Lately, I've actually been using Terrestrialization normal on Giratina because one of the other Pokemon... Now, in a more traditional team, you'd be better off using either Fluttermane or Calyrax's Astral form or the Ghost Rider form. But anyways, Astral Barrage from Calyrax is ridiculously powerful. So one of the ways I've been, dealing with it is my opponent sees Giratina. They obviously think, okay, go for Astral Barrage. I basically assume they basically assume I'm just gonna protect or something. What I basically do is Terrestrialize into normal. That way Ghost moves don't really affect Giratina, and I get pretty much a free Shadow Ball on it. Or a Hex in this case, because this is actually my defensive Giratina. I was basically experimenting with Bolt because there's two different ways you can use Giratina. The super defensive build that runs like Will-O-Wisp and all that, and Pain Split, or the more offensive version that's more of like a Calm Mind setter because Draco Meteor is too powerful to not use. But I managed to get like a couple of games this week using Bolt. So this is the more defensive one. So right here, my Incineroar, I almost called it Infernape. Why did I say that? Incineroar actually just knocked out the Indene. Now they got Fluttermane still, and they still have 3 more Mons. And they go into their own Incineroar. Yeah, makes sense dealing with Incineroar. So let's see. I can't Will-O-Wisp the Incineroar. So I could just go for a knockoff with my own to get rid of whatever item it's holding. And the Fluttermane goes for the Protect. Okay, that's okay. I was just going to go for Hex to try to knock it out, honestly. But a knockoff will go off and take care of my opponent's safety goggles. And they use a knockoff for my Giratina, but luckily it did tank that. But it did remove Giratina's leftovers, so that does suck. So I'm thinking I could just go for an attack. The only real thing I gotta be careful with is if my opponent's Fluttermane uses Shadow Ball. So let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna do. Again, I've said this before in other videos. It's funny how, even though these are my recorded games, I always like when I'm rewatching these and like voicing over them. I always like am sometimes surprised by the move I make because I'm like, I did that. But anyways, so they go for the icy winds. So I was not expecting that, but luckily it did miss on my Rillaboom. Knockoff will go off, removing the assault vest. But I'll get a free knockoff, which will take care of the Flutter Mane. So luckily, since that's bolt two Pokemon for my opponents is gone, now I don't have to worry about them switching out Incineroar, so I don't have to worry about any more Intimidates, which that could be a problem later down the line. So good thing I took care of that now. And it's Koraidon. Man, Koraidon. This thing can be kind of difficult to deal with. So let's see. You'd think a Pokemon with 4 times weakness to Fairy wouldn't be as bad, but man, this Pokemon just hits like a truck, dude. Or I guess in this case, more hits like a motorcycle, but this thing hits hard. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna switch out my Incineroar. And I'm gonna go back out into Giratina because I was thinking they were probably gonna try to use like a close combat or some kind of fighting move on my Incineroar to knock it out since dark and all that. So that's why I switched out to my Giratina, and they terrestrialize into Ghost. That's really interesting because you usually see fire terrestrialization on Koraidon, so that's really interesting. It looks like this is gonna be a battle of the ghosts. I'm cool with that. Ghost is my favorite type. So let's see. Let's see. I'm thinking. Okay, so my opponent's gonna keep. Okay, so I'm gonna keep Incineroar in, and I'm gonna go for the Will-O-Wisp. So I'm gonna return my Rillaboom because I need to save that for later. I'm gonna go back out into my Incineroar to hopefully lower down the attack of both of them. And luckily this time it's not running the amulet coin. But it still is able to knock out my Incineroar. Even without stab, that just shows. See, this is an example of what I mean, just how freaking strong Koraidon is. But luckily the Will-O-Wisp go off, so Koraidon's attack will be cut in half. So that's good for me. Let's see, and the Incineroar also knocked off, so that does get rid of leftovers again. But that's okay, so I'm going to go back out to Rillaboom. And I'm thinking I'm just going to go for Fake Out to stop the Incineroar. And I'm just going to go for Hex. Because basically I was thinking to myself, if Hex can go off, not only is it stab plus super effective since they terrestrialize into Ghost, because the Koraidon now, even more so with the special defense gone, down, because it's burned, Hex will do double damage. And it does knock out. Thank goodness. Because again, Koraidon can be difficult to deal with sometimes. It and Miraidon. Like, both the cover legendaries for, honestly, Scarlet and Violet are just really good. Okay, so let's see. So, they have one Pokemon left, but I've been in a scenario where I think, okay, I got this done. But they have one Pokemon left, and it's still kind of a dragged out game to try to take care of it. So, I don't want to take any chances, so I'm just going to switch out on the Urshifu right here. And they actually protect, so I got a free switch in. Sweet. And I'm just going to go over the Hex, but, it does, protect. But, hey, what can you do? Still a free switch in. Can't complain about that. So they're going to still be able to gain HP, but the grassy terrain is gone now, so... And I still have Rillaboom in case I need that later. So I'm thinking just go for either a close combat or a surging strike. I go for the close combat. And it does knock out. Alright, sweet. And that takes care of that. Man, Incineroar is always such a crazy Pokemon. But man, Koraidon is so difficult to deal with. So I managed to get that one. Now we're on to Game 3. So let's see. Again with the Koraidon. Oh man. And also Lunala. So I gotta be careful how I do this. So, Intimidate does go off, so it wasn't holding the Amulet coin, so that's good. So I'm just going to go over the Fake Out since, Lunala is a Ghost type, so Fake Out won't do anything. I'm going to play with my opponent's head because I had a feeling they were going to go for a Ghost move to hit my Giratina, so I'm going to Terrestrialize now. See, the second one I was using, you could tell because this one's not shiny. My shiny one is more the defensive one. This is more of an offensive one that uses, like, Calm Mind. So I'm going to terrestrialize the normal, and they're going to Moonlight Beam, and yep, doesn't do anything. And I got a free Shadow Ball. And because Lunala is Ghost and Psychic, it's quad super effective, but man, that thing is bulky, so it did manage to survive that. So I'm thinking I could protect in case, because now that I'm, normal, my Giratina, I was really expecting the Koraidon. Yeah, close combat. Thank goodness for protect. This way I can have my Incineroar hopefully able to knock out the Lunala. And it's going to absorb space power, and especially that. Man, White Herb is, Power Herb is crazy, so. Barely. Oh my god, thank goodness I run a super tanky special defensive EV spread for my Incineroar, because that was close. 2 HP, damn. And the knockoff does take care of it, because, Dark, quad weak, so. Alright, cool. So far, 1 down, 3 to go. So my opponent is going to send out. Let's see. Okay, I cannot read that. Okay, Fluttermane. Okay, cool. So this is kind of interesting right here because man, Fluttermane, man, Ghost and Fairy is such a good typing. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go for a Shadow Ball because Giratina is close to being knocked out anyway, so I might as well try to get as much out of my Giratina as I can. I'm gonna go for Shadow Ball and try to Parting Shot on the Koraidon, just bring its stats down lower. Moonlight being okay, so instead they Moonblast and got rid of my Incineroar first, and it went for a close combat and barely, dang, barely. And okay, I lost me. Okay, I lost some HP, but Shadow Ball will go off. Almost knocks out. Focus Sash, I should have known. So, what with the Focus Sash, that would have been a knockout right there. So, I'm thinking to myself, I could just go for Urshifu because I could just go for an Aqua Jet, trying to knock it out now. Even though the sun is out, Aqua Jet's still stab and all that, so plus, only 1 HP left, so it will knock out. So, I don't want to take any chances, so I'm just going to go for the Aqua Jet, try to knock it out quickly. Let's see. The I've said this before in other videos, but man, the terrestrialization effect on Giratina looks so cool, especially the ghost one. Okay, so Protect goes off, and let's see, an Aqua Jet knocks out the Fluttermane. All right, sweet. And they have Koraidon and 1 more Pokemon left. I think I remember this. What their last Pokemon is. So it luckily, thanks to my Incineroars, Timidate going off earlier, it wasn't as strong, thank goodness. I forgot its name. Damn it. Shit, I forgot its name. But this Pokemon is really good. We all know how Among Us has always been god tier in double battles, so the ancient version's got to be as good, right? Man, this Pokemon is really tanky. So I'm going to go over the D-Tech just to be safe. And they go for the Rage Powder. One of the things that has made Among Us so infamous in VGC doubles. So, unfortunately, my Giratina is going to get knocked out, so that does suck. But Giratina took care of 2 other Pokemon, so I can't really say it was a waste. So, Miraidon will go off, and the Electric Terrain will get set up. So, I'm thinking I could just go for like a close combat and just try to spam Dazzling Gleam. So, let's see. It really depends on what's going to happen here, because if the Koraidon can hit my Miraidon, it might knock out right away. So my opponent right away is going to Terrestrialize into Water. Interesting. I don't see, I've only seen this Pokemon a couple of times, but I don't know. I don't know if Water is usually what they run. If anyone knows in the comments, let me know. So, let's see. I'm going to go for the Dazzling Gleam, which will knock out the Koraidon. Thank goodness for the quad weakness to Fairy. And close combat will go off. Now, if I remember right, this Pokemon is usually grass and dark. So, if it didn't Terrestrialize, that would have been a knockout right there. But, yeah. So, but, I should have this anyways, But Yeah, I should just have it. Dazzling Gleam plus close combat should knock it out. And the battle is canceled. Okay, cool. I'll take that. I forgot what that Pokemon, like I said, was called, the Ancient Paradox Among Us. But no matter what point in time, that Pokemon is always Among Us is a crazy Pokemon. I still have nightmares. But anyways, that's it for this one. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. We've been going up in subscribers every day. So if you want to see any more, if you have any recommendations for like any teams or Pokemon you want me to try out here on the channel, let me know. I'd love to hear them. So that's pretty much everything for this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.